The Dead Interview by Margaret Atwood. Scene-by-scene breakdown. Scene 1. Framing the premise. The story opens by establishing the conceit, an interview with someone who is dead, or with the dead collectively. The setting is not a conventional studio, but a liminal space where questions about life and legacy can be posed without ordinary constraints. The interviewer's voice is formal and procedural. The interviewee's voice is wry, evasive, or unexpectedly candid. This scene sets the rules of the encounter and signals that the piece will be as much about storytelling as about the person being interviewed. Scene 2. Opening questions and surface. Biography. The interviewer asks routine, biographical questions: origins, occupation, notable events. The dead subject answers with short, sometimes ironic corrections to the received story. Small factual details are disputed or reframed, and the reader sees how easily a life can be compressed into a tidy resume. The tone alternates between mock seriousness and sly undermining of conventional obituary tropes. Scene 3. Private moments made public. The interview shifts to more intimate territory, private choices, embarrassing episodes, or acts of kindness that never made it into public accounts. The dead speaker either confesses or deflects, revealing that what is remembered publicly is often a curated selection. The scene highlights the gap between public persona and private reality and begins to show how memory is selective. Scene 4. Interrogation of motives and omissions. The interviewer presses on motives, why certain decisions were made, who benefited, who was hurt. The dead subject points out omissions in the official record, people who were left out, small cruelties that were overlooked, or kindnesses that were forgotten. This exchange exposes the editorial labor behind legacy making and suggests that institutions, media, family, canon, shape reputations as much as actions do. Scene 5. Metafictional self-awareness. The conversation becomes self-conscious about form. The interviewer comments on the act of interviewing, on how questions are framed, and on the audience that will consume the transcript. The dead subject may mock the genre, obituaries, memoirs, posthumous interviews, calling attention to the artifice of narrative and the way stories are packaged for consumption. Scene 6. Revisions and counter-narratives. A turning point occurs when the dead subject offers a counter-narrative, a version of events that contradicts the dominant story. This may be a revelation about a relationship, a confession of a small crime, or an explanation that humanizes a previously vilified figure. The scene demonstrates how legacy can be contested and how new tellings can unsettle settled judgments. Scene 7. Humor, irony, and moral ambiguity. Atwood uses wit to undercut solemnity. The dead speaker makes ironic asides, the interviewer's seriousness is punctured, and the reader is invited to laugh even as moral complexity deepens. The scene resists easy moral closure. The subject is neither wholly redeemed nor wholly condemned. Scene 8. Institutional critique. The interview widens to critique the institutions that manage memory: publishers, archives, the press, family gatekeepers. The dead subject comments on who profits from tidy narratives and who is erased by them. This scene foregrounds power dynamics in cultural memory and asks who gets to write history. Scene 9. Final reframing and coda. The story closes with a final exchange that reframes the entire interview, an ambiguous remark, a last correction, or a wry observation that leaves the reader uncertain which version of the life to accept. The coda emphasizes the central idea. Once a life is told, it is never simply the life itself, but a constructed narrative shaped by questioners, listeners, and the needs of the living.